Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, and welcome to Jagadambe Reads the Holy Books of India, Mahabharata 102. As you may remember, Arjuna, disguised as a yati, was taken to the gardens of Subhadra. Chapter 42, Subhadrajuna. Arjuna spent several happy days in the gardens of Subhadra. She was following her brother's commands religiously. Arjuna's love for her increased day by day. She would sit by his side and attend to all his wants. She would bring him food and feed him herself. All the time Arjuna would sigh and look at her. She could not understand why he looked so unhappy. She'd go away, she would play with her friends in the garden. Arjuna would keep looking at her, as Agni, the god of fire, would look at Swaha. Thus time passed happily and unhappily for Arjuna. In the city of Dwarka, and in the house of the Vrishnis, the name of Arjuna was a household word. He stood for all that was brave and beautiful. In the school of archery, the common talk would be, "You must become like Arjuna." When little boys quarreled, the talk would be, "Don't dare defy me or challenge me. Even Arjuna is not my equal. Who are you then?" When elders blessed the young boys, they would say, "May you become as great a warrior as Arjuna." When a woman was to become a mother, the blessing would be, "May you be the mother of a son like Arjuna." Living in an atmosphere steeped in the Arjuna law, Subhadra had already become more interested in this hero. Her brother Krishna would always speak to her about Arjuna and his lovable qualities and his personal beauty. Gada had told her so much about Arjuna. She too, like Arjuna, had fallen in love with him, whom she had not seen. Rukmini, the wife of Krishna, had fallen in love with Krishna without having seen him. Subhadra was like her now. She was always eager for news about Arjuna. Whenever anyone came from the direction of Indraprastha, she would ask him to tell her about Arjuna. Days passed by pleasantly for Arjuna. Subhadra was intrigued by the behavior of the yati. She could feel his eyes on her all the time. He would look at her with such hot eyes that she would run away, unable to meet his eyes. Slowly, a thought began to form in her mind. This yati did resemble her Arjuna. The description of Arjuna which she had heard fitted this man. His arms and his chest looked like those of Arjuna. One day she saw his shoulders. Both of them were scarred. She had heard that Arjuna could use both his hands when he handled the bow and arrows. A suspicion was forming in her mind. Perhaps he is Arjuna, she thought. But then reason would assert itself. How could this yati be Arjuna? Arjuna was not a sannyasin. She decided to talk to him about it. One day Subhadra asked him, "They say you have traveled all over Bharatavarsha. Tell me about the beautiful spots you visited." Arjuna was only too glad to do so. This became a daily routine. She would spend hours together in his company, listening to his charming voice. He was eloquent, as Krishna had warned Balarama. Once, when they were together, Subhadra led the talk to Indraprastha. She said, "In your wanderings, you must have been to Indraprastha. That is where my Aunt Kunti Devi lives. You must have seen Yudhishthira, our cousin. The Pandavas are our cousins, you know." The yati said that he had met them and that he knew them very well. Subhadra said, "I hear that Arjuna has been away from Indraprastha. He too, like you, must be wandering all over the world, visiting the holy places. Have you by any chance met him during your wanderings?" Arjuna thought that the time was opportune. He smiled at her and said, "Oh yes, I have met him." Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.